Visit us for updates and shows at affinityxtra.co.uk.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are personal and do not necessarily represent the views of Affinity Xtra.
Yeah, people, this is your boy here, Roger Moore here on Affinity Xtra, celebrating gospel music of black origin, and we are stretching ourselves here. We are stepping up levels. We are going to the next zone. We are here with one of the new shows which I'm gonna be enjoying because I like Ideologies out there still, and we're gonna have a show called Ideology. Now myself Ideologies, I'm saying, getting corrected by Mr. Mark G here. He's gonna be our host for this. I'm gonna be like, guys, I think this is fantastic. Just want to introduce you guys to just the mindset of it as well. 100%. I met this young man, and I just I think that there's always a deeper meaning to what we see on TV, and this young guy is just on my case about, this is really why people think that this. I think it really deprograms us from what we see on TV. So we're gonna be going through some I don't know if it sounds right by saying deprogramming, but
I think it's more education. I think it's more education,
that's good.
Information, and people just really a show where people can grasp ideology and understand ideology, and also their ideological beliefs. Yeah.
No, 100%. I think that's absolutely fantastic. So we're gonna be trying out this concept with you guys. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be coming out with something fresh. We're gonna be and I say we. In time, you might not see me. You might see everybody else in there and whatsoever. But this is something for us, as you know, in the station. We do want to challenge the status quo, not because we want to just challenge it, because we believe it needs to be challenged, because it's healthy environment to reason. You know what I'm saying? That's a very biblical thing. That's why we went into the temples and the synagogues in the New Testament. Pure things are going like that because we're challenging and reasoning on a weekly basis. That's
and
reasoning. So 100% we're gonna go for this. So Mr. Margie, you're gonna take it over now, bro. So you're gonna just introduce the show and introduce yourself, and your next album, and
soon.
Go for it, my bro. Go on.
Hello, Affinity Xtra family. It's your boy, Mr. Mark G here. I'm a new Brahmi, by the way. Got married recently, so I'm this is my new area now. As you can see, I'm not from around there by my accent, man. Hopefully I won't get a Brahmi accent. Don't mind hearing it, but I don't want it for myself. Anyway, this is Ideologies. This is a place where I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm actually here to give you an understanding about how the West especially is undergirded by ideological beliefs, and in fact the reason why there is clashes, politically speaking, even though not violent, it is a battle of ideas. When you see, say, Rishi Sunak, as we will see, debating Keir Starmer, or hopefully when we look at the American presidential debates coming up, I believe there's one more. And there'll be more reactions just looking at people who have different ideological beliefs discussing and debating issues. And democracy is about the best idea winning the day. And so we're going to have our first ever reaction. The leader of the opposition, Rishi Sunak, is going to ask Keir Starmer a question. This is something that usually happens every week on a Wednesday, I think around 12 o'clock. Where the leader of the opposition and other members of parliament will ask the prime minister questions for about half an hour to an hour. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, bro.
This is televised on BBC Parliament and is also streamed on YouTube. And so we are going to look at one question. We're going to react to it, diagnose it. I'm not here to tell you what I like or don't like, but really to show you the ideological undercurrents behind this discussion. And so hopefully we're going to have fun with it. Hopefully you have fun with it as we watch, as we react, as we discuss. Again, we obviously have views, you have points of. I mean, Roger. He has his views.
I have views.
And we're not here to tell you what to think. We're trying to show you. Politicians why they think the way they think.
I like that.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and just by you saying democracy is what idea wins. That's a whole 10-hour conversation in itself, bro.
Hey, we can have that,
bro. Listen, man. Oh my gosh, like that just sounds corrupted. You know what I'm saying? It just sounds like I think like this, so I'm gonna push it out to everybody. I'm gonna sell it better than everybody else and whatsoever. And
I mean, that's what happens during elections.
Yeah,
we just had the election recently. The former prime minister, the Rishi Sunak was prime minister. He called an election. They lost the election. Now they're the opposition party. Now Starmer is the prime minister. Usually it would be Keir Starmer asking Rishi Sunak questions because he was a prime minister. But now there's a role reversal of sorts. Rishi Sunak is holding the position as leader of opposition for just a short while. They are going to put in a new opposition leader. And in fact, maybe we can do an episode later on about the candidates and what they ideologically believe. The ideological, because there will be somebody who's going to replace Rishi Sunak, who will be challenging the government with all the legislation and policies,
I'm smiling, bro. It's funny because everybody knows that I have not many great things to say about my girl Kemi. I don't have very much good things to say about Kemi out there.
I don't think. Then you'll be glad to know. I don't think she's tipped to win.
Oh, bro. She was never going to win.
Listen, I'm here as a neutral. I'm not here. I don't want to give away my views.
So you can see the approach here, guys.
You can give your view. You can't help it. But me, I'm here as a neutral. Though I have my views.
Bro? Just a tease one before you go into it's funny that I'm on the green side and you're on the side where you got red and blue, which is the traditional political colours, left and right. Yeah. Just that alone. I'm on the green side.
You should be neutral.
Because the thing is, I did a survey before the elections. There's a survey done just to see which party are landing. And myself and another guy in the Affinity Xtra team, Minister, we both ended up into the Green Party zone.
Oh, so you guys are environmentalists.
We're all about love, man. We love the earth, man. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? We love people. We have peace and love, you know what I'm saying?
They have a few. I think the Green Party did quite well in the election. I think they have a few more MPs. I'm also sure you're happy to know that there are a few reformed MPs as well. I'm joking.
Bro, you heard that? Yo, that's going to get clipped. That's going to be clipped. Look at he's like he voted him.
Nigel Farage and a few members of the Reform Party, they're up there in the opposition.
I spoke about this, and it's good that we're having this conversation because, I spoke about this beforehand and I said that, is the Reform Party really getting new votes, or is it just capturing the true? Is it just becoming what Conservative was 20 years ago?
And that has been a hot topic, especially among the members of the Conservative Party. They feel like their base has defected to the Reform Party. And I think the Conservatives are trying to answer, how can we win them back? In fact, they're even talking about how many Conservative MPs are going to defect to the Reform Party, because by not having Kemi as Prime Minister. Maybe we should do an ideological an ideological check of Kemi. Why Kemi thinks the way she thinks. Maybe that could be an episode where we could actually look at some key profile politicians both in the US and America who are quite prolific, like Jeremy Corbyn. Why is he a socialist? And why is Kemi a conservative? Why does she believe the things that she believes? Because let me tell you something, as a believer, right, we're a Christian radio station, we need to understand why people think the way they think before we even criticize. You know what I'm saying?
What is the Christian? What's the Christian party?
There is a Christian party.
No. What's the party that Christians? Because he said, because me growing up, when it came to voting, now this is just because of my background. I'm observing coming in this country. So guys, we just have conversation, so you can get ideas about ideas and what goes through our heads. Yeah. Growing up as a young, I'm not saying I stick to these rules, but growing up as a child of Afro-Caribbean descent, we vote Labour. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like certain working class communities, you work Labour. As a black person, you vote Labour. You don't vote Conservative. That was that background I came out of. Yeah, we never looked at it from a Christian standpoint because we saw all our parties as Christian. But you're saying from a Christian viewpoint, yeah, which is 100% great, fantastic. What is the party? So for me, it should be more socialist as a Christian. Because he cares for more about the people. I don't know.
If I answered that, I'll be giving away what I believe. So let me not do that.
Okay.
But what I will say is that what I will say is that, in all honesty, there's Christians across the political divide. There are Christians who are on the left and Christians on the right. Now, I don't know quite sure what. I don't think there's a standard. Demographic that Christians only vote for this party in this country, but I can safely say in the United States, Christians more often than not vote for the Republican side. And among the believers, what we see right now is obviously the candidate being Donald Trump. Why is a lot of Christians who don't like Trump are questioning why is there a large base of the evangelical vote going for a Donald Trump rather than a Kamala Harris? Now, here's a quick answer. Because in as much that Trump is Trump with all that he does, with all the scandals and all of that, he is a proponent for the values that mostly align biblically, arguably, with biblical Christianity, such as, abortion is a very big issue in the United States.
Go.
Gay marriage is a big issue.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Unfortunately, as far as American Christianity is concerned, abortion and gay marriage have been the preliminary focal points of discussion within the American political landscape. However, we know that the Bible speaks more than the issues. Although they are important, marriage and abortion is important. What I do like is that there's some other organizations which are trying to provide a more holistic approach, not only just to those two hot button issues, but everything, such as the ANT campaign, which they're for the biblical sexual ethic and life, but they're also about justice. They're also about criminal justice and redressing the grievances and the disparities caused by the race relations that have the way that they have manifested throughout decades and years and all that. So I think the problem with the evangelical vote in America is that you can say, for example, well, let's not just think Christian the vote and really focus on who's pro-life and who's not. But the issue is they can't go beyond that because for them it's a very serious issue. It's a serious issue. It's a serious issue. It's about the are we terminating life in the womb? And if that's the case, then no one wants. They will not go beyond that issue of life until that issue is somewhat resolved. They can't. All this. I speak to evangelical Christians. So I've ever spoken to American hardcore Republican friends, and they say, "I would like to get to all this other subject matters, but first things first, it's about life and the preservation of life." And so that's why, by and large, a majority of Americans. Christians vote for the Republican Party. Now, as far as Christians, the ethnic minority Christians in the Labour Party, they voted Labour because Labour have been the party that has always been about, helping the ethnic minorities. And so that's why they're more susceptible. The evangelicals are more, in this country, vote for Labour.
No, 100%. But something that we can look into is it is 100% because I'm a history buff as well, and you have to understand one of the major reasons why Hitler got his votes is because he came across as he looked at Christian values and he used that as part of his political drive. So if you check out his history, that's the way how he got into where he is, and then the other side came out because his so-called Christian values. So he led a Christian value. I'm not saying, but check into that, because his ideologies were like today. Oh, he's pro-family. He was pro, you know what I'm saying? He was anti-Jew, because we know he's very anti-Semitic in them days, you know what I'm saying? And he was anti-certain communities as well, the gay community. He was anti a lot of things there openly, and everybody's like, yeah, these Christian values, yeah! You know what I'm saying? You know, and there, but I'm not saying Trump is Hitler, I'm not saying these guys are here, but it shows you how people have mimicked on top of Christian values to get the popular Christian vote. But that's a whole other.
So we're gonna do our first reaction. But let me respond to that.
Okay.
In as much as we are dedicating this time to discuss ideologies, what I will encourage every believer, no matter who you support ideologically or political party, that ultimately the person who will fix all our problems, in the ultimate sense, is God. The Lord Jesus.
Yes, Jesus Christ.
And politicians can only do so much. I mean, I'm no disrespect to Obama fans, but Obama came, you saw the euphoria that came with him.
Yeah.
And yet, he didn't live as the Messiah that people thought that he would be. The change is going to come.
The black and the Christian. Black Christians were very
shows to
hurt.
me that in as much as politics is important, it's limited. And if you are craving, what you are craving for ultimately is a new kingdom. And the new kingdom can only come in its ultimate sense when Jesus comes. So even the politicians, no matter who we believe will be best, they will always let us down. They will always let us down.
All the lovely show already, man. All the lovely show, all over the show.
So,
you know what I'm saying?
Guys, today we're going to react to just one question asked during Prime Minister Questions time by the leader of opposition, Rishi Sunak, asking a question to the Prime Minister. And then we're going to ideologically dissect it, me and my brother Roger. All right? Let's go.
His words about Her late Majesty, the Queen, but also in his words about the Princess of Wales. She's been in the thoughts of everyone across the country, and I know everyone in the House will be delighted and relieved at the progress that she has made. May I also, Mr. Speaker, take this opportunity to pay tribute to Nicholas Howard. This is his last Prime Minister's Questions after supporting 8 consecutive Prime Ministers through these sessions. Never my favourite part of the week, but his commendable service made it far more manageable.
I found that funny because he's saying he didn't really enjoy Prime Minister Questions.
Yeah, because he gets battered.
Exactly. And Keir Starmer's getting it. But anyway, let's carry on.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday Labour MPs voted to remove the winter fuel payment from over 10 million British pensioners, including those with just £13,000 of income. With that decision debated and made, it is now important that the House understands the full consequences of the government's choice. So can I very specifically ask the Prime Minister, will he now publish the impact assessment before the House rises?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the fact of the matter is this. They left a £22 billion black hole. And they hid it from the OBR. Richard Hughes is absolutely clear. It's the largest year-ahead overspend outside of the pandemic. Now, of course, when it comes to mitigations and impacts, we've put those in place. Ramping up pension credit, dealing with housing benefit and linking it, something the party opposite didn't do for years. And because of the tough decisions that we're making to stabilise the economy, we can make sure that the triple lock shows that increases in pensions will outstrip any loss of payments. But before he complains about us clearing up his mess, perhaps he'd like to apologise for the £22 billion black hole.
And so let's start the education. And Roger, if you got any questions, please shoot. We've had the Conservative leader, Rishi Sunak, and the leader of the opposition asking the question about winter fuel payments to the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. Now, before I get into that, I want to talk about the Labour Party and the Conservative Party and why they're different. So stay with me. There's going to be some graphics on top of the screen to kind of guide you through this. Labour are left wing, which means they're a big government type of party.
Okay.
What I mean by that, or they believe in the big state. So they're the ones who introduced to our country initiatives such as the welfare state and the National Health Service. And this is so that everyone, no matter where you are on the socio-economic status, you are provided for. So they believe in using the power of the state to redress any grievances caused by economic disparities. And that's something that, in general, everyone across the political divide is grateful for. Say, for example, if you lose a job, you can go get job seekers allowance, and you can get cared for by the government. Also, the National Health Service, though it has its issues, it's free of charge. And I am thankful for those initiatives. And I think everyone across the political divide in this country is happy with those initiatives. Let me move on to the Conservative Party. Conservative Party are usually right-wing. That means they're a small government party, which means they want the size of the government to be small. And so they traditionally do not believe in having a big state taking care of everyone. They described it back in the day as the nanny state, where the government does everything for you. They believe in us human beings taking responsibility for our lives and leaving the individuals to chart his course and take responsibility and things of that nature. So small government are all about individual responsibility, the state as small as possible. And so it's only till recently, since David Cameron became Prime Minister, that they were warm and they felt very good about initiatives such as the National Health Service and the welfare state, though they would say that they would regulate it in such a way as, number one, say the welfare state, to get people off welfare and into work so that they don't live a lifestyle of dependency. And then the National Health Service, whereas they believe, as all political parties do in Parliament, that it should be free at the point of care, that, like the New Labour, they are willing to work with private companies to kind of work alongside, right? And so those on the far left of the Labour Party are concerned about that sort of collaboration between public and private sector and how it might affect the premise of National Health Service being free at the point of care. So, Labour, left wing, big government. Big government initiatives such as welfare state, free education, right? Welfare state, National Health Service, right? The government that helps, using the power of the state to help people, all right? Conservative, small government, individual take their own responsibility. You chart your course, Americans might call it manifest destiny. You're your man. Grab yourself by the bootstraps, take responsibility, and make the most of your life. Now, are you with me? Conservative, small, Labour, big.
Yeah.
Now, have you got any more questions from there?
No, that makes it. It's interesting, and it's not like you changed what I thought of the parties, but it's interesting how you described it. It's quite interesting. I've heard of the word nanny state.
So they believe in using the power of the state to create initiatives to redress any grievances caused by economic, social, or cultural initiatives.
So is communism an extreme version of a nanny state?
Yes. So communism means no private property.
Yeah.
So this will be owned by the government. Now you don't own anything.
Okay.
That will be the extreme.
Yeah.
Now the extreme to the right would be the government. There's no NHS, no welfare.
USA.
And no, I don't think America is. There's some who are more right wing than America. The Republicans are more right wing than the Conservatives, believe it or not.
Is there a country out there that's extremely right wing?
Well, I don't know, but I know I've heard that a few because of the tensions, I don't want to digress, but because of the tensions to do with illegal migration in Europe, a lot of far-right political parties
are rising up. Italy have a
very right-wing prime minister. Austria have won, and then
I think is it
Germany,
Albania or Hungary? Somebody close about
Poland has a very conservative government,
yeah.
And Germany. Within the local federal governments, a lot of the right-wing parties have gained momentum. And that is because the left are traditionally the ones of, let's welcome the immigrant, let's help them. There's the middle-of-the-road conservatives, also in the middle, but like, okay, let's do immigration within reason. But then because of the issues that arise, a lot of people go far right when they say we don't want them at all. In fact, if they come through on the boats, just send them back. Now, are you with me? Now, the irony here is, as we have seen here, let's now react to this. Now that we have talked about the ideological sort of features of the Labour and the Conservative Party. Now, I hope you stay with me. Again, this is more education. So conservative, small government, Labour, big government. Now what we see here is the ironic thing here is, Roger, is that the Conservatives, the Conservative Party, the small government, are protesting over the fact that the Labour government, the big government, big state government, are cutting welfare payments, because what Starmer and his government have said is that they have discovered a huge
22 billion.
Right. And so as a result, they have resorted
cooked books
to do this. Now, I'm not going to tell you what I believe about this, but they're justifying because of that whole that they have to do this. But now the Conservatives are asking, why are you now they're concerned. They actually want this. They're obviously voting against it because they want the old folks to still maintain their payments. But the irony is, what they're saying is, you want to sacrifice these payments in order to satisfy the demands of because you know what's also been happening now is the strikes. And the government, the Labour, being the party of the trade unions, because the trade unions are a very big feature of the Labour Party. They have decided, in fact, I've even just read today that
that's correct.
But then it makes me think, if I am a rail driver and I'm getting this huge salary, would I want it at the expense of, say, my elderly grandma or father or grandfather getting little winter fuel payments at my expense? And it's ironic that it's not the Conservatives who would traditionally cut such things. It is Labour.
100%.
But Labour are doing it for the sake of, it sounds like, satisfying the need, the demands of those who have been striking, who, by the way, have caused the strikes have been a thorn in the flesh of the Conservative government. The government that was there prior to.
So it's like when you push something down, and then the water comes up a different hole. So you're ultimately with dealing with the rail track situation and raising the prices there. It's not just the deficit, but the current flow of finance is almost a case of going, okay, cool. We're going to take a hit here because we're taking a hit here. We're taking a hit here, and really they're taking a hit where Labour traditionally upholds support for the elderly, for the marginalised,
and it's now the Conservatives who are questioning. And now what Rishi Sunak has said is
he questioning because he's there to be questioned? He's not because they probably agree what he's done, but we're only questioning to get for popular vote.
Let me share you something interesting. So don't judge me here. I watch Mark watches all types of news. Okay. Because I love ideology. I came across a post on GB News, which fair enough is a right way.
I watch GB News.
There's actually a very conservative pundit sort of guy who actually applauded the fact that but you know what? It was interesting. The guest who was saying he was actually glad that they've been cut. The pundit, the guy, the news person who was interviewing was actually saying, but hang on a minute, these are people who have built our country whilst they were young, and now they're old, and we're just going to live, you know what I mean? And it seems like in this country, there is a consensus across the board that we have to take care of our own, especially those who have served us, whether it's the military or, you know, those who have grown old and have paid their taxes and they become good citizens, and now they're relying on the state to sort of take care of us, and now it's being withheld. And also, I think what the conservatives are actually concerned is that they're trying to make the recipients of the winter fuel allowance pay at the expense so that they can satisfy the demands of the unions. Because you have to understand that before this government, the strikes have been a regular feature of this government.
When you go past the train station, it's always closed, man.
You have to give credit to Starmer that as soon as he got into government, he felt that something had to be done. Now the question is what he has done is the right thing is up to you guys to decide. But what is ironic is that the conservatives are the ones who are saying, these are our people. These people need to be taken care of, and they are being crucified at the expense of satisfying the demands of your. In fact, Rishi Sunak describes the people who are striking as the union paymasters of the Labour Party. In other words, since the unions are always supporting Labour, then of course they would, now that they have ushered you into government, and of course they will want something back from you. And that listen, what I will say is that it feels like in terms of the economic climate of our country today, that something needs to be done. And compromises, like you said, have to be made. We have to decide who has to suffer. Do you know what? Another thing that would be of interest to you is a lot of people have been asked, what should we cut instead of the winter fuel payments? And you are somebody who cares about the diaspora. Some people have argued that they should cut the funding to foreign aid. They should cut that instead of the, let's take care of our own rather than foreign aid.
Well, foreign aid is a hot topic in itself because
let's stick to this part.
Because we're talking about cancelling debt, you know what I'm saying, and compensation. But anyway, so let's go in the compensation and
that could be for another topic.
That's not 100%. But I think that you raise a good point here, and it's something where we are looking at winter things being cut by a Labour Party that's meant to love the community, meant to love people. Where do we see that? Traditionally, I thought Labour would just increase the corporation tax and increase the tax on people that earn more money. I thought that'd be the first thing to do, but they didn't. They really chopped off the more. That's a tradition. That's a traditional spite. Because they're rich themselves now.
See, when Starmer decided to run for prime minister, and he actually became the flag bearer of the political party, the big question is, what type of Labour are we going to have? Are we going to have the old Labour or the new Labour? A little bit about Tony Blair and the new Labour vision that he had is that whereas he believed in the big state, he also considered the fact that we also need not to punish those in private enterprise, because what people would argue, the Conservative and the new Labour, not the old Labour, would argue, and the Conservative and those who believe in the free market is, if you tax all these people, all these rich people, they're going to leave. They're going to go to a place where there might not be no tax at all. Exactly. And so that is a difficult thing for the government. Is there is consequences. And so the question is, what consequence do you want to bear? And that is the situation that we have right now. The government have decided to go ahead or with dealing with the government, with the national finances by making this decision. It received a lot of backlash. In terms of personality, I respect the fact that Starmer is standing his ground. Obviously, on a human level, that's very concerned. Well, he's saying that has to be resolved. And they're actually arguing that this is information that was disclosed and wasn't known to them until they became the government.
Man, these guys can cook books, man. Because how do you hide 23 billion? I need that accountant, man.
Yeah. So, guys, when we put this on YouTube, I would like to
comment.
I mean, as you can see, guys, political ideology and political philosophy, especially in this country and all other Western democracy, really have an influence on how individuals in government make decisions. But also, what can happen is that even though political parties have their own traditional views, that they could actually morph and actually maybe change their position ideologically speaking, while still holding to the main traditional. So this is not something that Labour would traditionally do. In fact, I saw one thing on Good Morning Britain, which is on ITV. A member of Parliament said they will reluctantly vote to cut the winter fuel payment, as in that's not something that they would love to do, but they feel that they have to do it for the sake of the economy, right? But in life, people make decisions, politics or no politics, and with that comes consequences, and so we'll see how this transpires now that the decision has been made. Sunak has asked for an impact report. I don't know whether Starmer is going to oblige to that. Obviously, our prayers are with our elderly folks that despite this decision, they'll be well. But what we'll say is that when situations arise such as this, it's for us as people to do whatever we can to help each other, even though we believe that whether or not the government absconds from responsibility, we also have a responsibility as well. I hope I'm not giving anything away.
But 100% we're Christians, man. So when we see the need in our church, please do your best to help, man. It could be another subject or.
No, just an interesting thing to finish is that obviously I like the welfare state. I like the fact that we have a safety net to help people. But do we feel like we have resigned a lot of the individual? Like when you see a homeless person passing by, is it that it comes across our thoughts? Well, there's a welfare state that can go to that. The government can do. The government can help them. So it lives. That means that we can abscond from the responsibility from helping them. But then, one thing to note though is that if you don't have no fixed abode, you can't get benefits. But then, if you assume, well, there's benefits, why don't you just go apply for that? But without that knowledge, what can you do? And now, with that knowledge, what can we do? Homelessness and poverty is an issue, and of course, the Bible says the poor will always have among us. But what kind of initiatives, both public and private sector, can we utilize the church in order to come? I mean, it should break our hearts. All humans are made in the image of God, right? And so when we see somebody starve, I mean, I do my bit. I try and give a food here and there, but it's not effective because at the end of the day, the person will starve as well. And then obviously there's the other side of, does that individual who's homeless, does he want to be helped, or they just like begging, and so there's so much. Anyway, we can get into that for the next episode. But the fundamental question is the fact that we have a welfare state means that it has caused us to be less charitable? You think? Because we pass a lot of poor people.
You're asking me the question, or you're putting the question out there for everybody?
for you and everyone else. Maybe
that's something I've never really thought of, and I think
that's something to think about.
So that's definitely something to think about, and for me to come back on one of the future shows and talk about, because I think that's you've created a number of about 5-6 different episodes we can talk about stuff, yourself, other colleagues, about welfare state, creating lazy people, but the capitalism, full on capitalist system, and when people just I get it is you like it is ideologies, it is viewpoints, and there's pros and cons to everything, and I think it really gets you thinking that the welfare was coming from religion. The welfare was a minister looking out from his middle class lifestyle, going, I'm going to set up Dr. Bernardo's, you know what I'm saying, and look after the orphans. I'm going to do the Salvation Army and feed the people on the streets.
Because even I'll say one point and then I'll conclude. I heard John Piper speak about this on his podcast, about how there's some countries in the Western world, because there's a welfare state, because they believe that and it's good, by the way. I believe it. I love it. It's benefited me when I was broke and jobless. I love it. I'm not criticizing it. But the fundamental question is, because those services are there, does it abscond us as individuals doing what we can as an individual community basis? That's something that maybe I can look through, maybe there's some documentation or research about that, and perhaps we could talk about that on the next episode. But I would also want to give this a kingdom conclusion. We could talk about all these ideologies: left wing, right wing, conservatism, socialism, communism, fascism, but in the ultimate sense, all these systems of political thought will fail us, because they're human in nature. And what we're really looking for, my brother and sister, is the kingdom of Christ, where there will be heaven, the new heavens and the new earth, where there'll be no more sin, no more suffering, no more pain. So even when we're looking to the American election, and even when we are observing the decisions of our prime minister, is not to attach a messiah complex, I would advise, with the politicians with whom we choose. I'm also speaking to Christians as well, especially those in America. Those who are Team Trump and Team Kamala as well. There can be somewhat a messiah complex that can be attached to political campaigns, and that kind of promise, that there's this kind of promise we believe that things are just going to be much better. But listen, we live in planet Earth, and the salvation and that we're yearning for will come when Jesus comes. And so this is interesting, this is good, but guys, remember, Jesus is King. Let's look forward to the new heavens and the new earth, where the old will pass away and the new kingdom must come. This is your boy, Mr. Mark G. This is Ideologies. I hope you're having fun. I'm having fun. Roger, you having fun?
Yo, guys, listen, I'm going to get a good cup of coffee and sit down and relax and have a good think about what Mr. Mark G said today, man, still, So it's stuff more love. Great hearing your heart, bro, and great hearing thought processes. I think it's just beautiful, the kingdom of heaven. It's just beautiful to be on a platform, bro, but it's encouraging conversation about all aspects of human life, and that's what we're here to be. You know what I'm saying? And and I just love to see the voice of the Christian man, Christian black man, to be heard, because too often we don't hear our voice. You know what I'm saying? And you hear voices that people want people to hear voices, but our voice is not heard. So let's talk, man.
Let's talk. We're just getting started. We're just getting started.
So listen, nothing but love, people.
Ideologies, Mr. Mark G and Mr. Roger Moore. God bless, and see you on the next one.
Thank you for watching the content we're putting out. Listen, make sure that you are liking, subscribing and following us on all our social channels, including patreon.com. Make sure you're finding us on there to support what we do so we can support you. And remember, guys, be extra.